The Internet Access in South Africa 2008 study is the most extensive we've yet conducted, thanks to part funding by Cisco, who made it possible for us to go beyond the methodologies we've used in the past. We've used something like 6 different methodologies, distinct methodologies in this study, and that includes telephonic research from randomly sampled databases, telephonic research amongst industry representatives, online questionnaires, and consumer studies conducted telephonically as well. And we've also conducted extensive market intelligence research. It's amazing what you can uncover from submissions to the competition tribunal and from annual reports. So those have made a significant contribution to our insight into the growth of the market. The headline finding of the Internet Access in South Africa 2008 report is that the growth in Internet usage has recovered, and we're back at the growth rates that we last saw at the beginning of the century. It's the first time since 2001 that we've had double-digit growth rates in Internet usage in South Africa. The other big story, of course, is the growth in broadband. We've seen more than 50% growth in broadband subscriptions and in broadband users in South Africa in the past year. The single biggest trend is continued increase in the rate of growth in the next 3 years. We're seeing, for example, in 2009 a potential growth rate of 13%, and in 2010 17%. It slows down again in 2011 and 12, but not dramatically. So for the next 5 years we'll see double-digit growth every year, which is quite dramatic considering how long the internet user base in this country has been stagnant. Probably in the next 5 years, because right now for the end of 2008 we're seeing 4.5 million users. We had 4 million users at the end of 2007, and that's going to double by 2013. 2030 we're looking at 8 million internet users in South Africa. What we're going to see in the coming 2 years is not the cost of broadband subscriptions coming down dramatically, but the cost of usage of broadband will come down dramatically by more than half in the coming 2 years. So for the same price, you're probably going to get anywhere from 4 times to 10 times as much capacity as you have now. So if you're on a 1 gig package, you're going to be offered anywhere from 3 to 10 gigs, and if you're on a 3 gig package, anywhere from 10 to 30 gigs of data capacity. And that's going to be the big change. The regulator must be better resourced and better staffed and better technically and strategically equipped to basically perform its mandate, and that is to regulate the market, regulate frequencies, but not in such a way as to hold back the growth of the market. So regulation of spectrum must be done in such a way that it benefits the sector as a whole and not just a few, and also that it doesn't open up abuse by numerous little players. So you've got to strike a balance between those two approaches. Managed liberalisation has been the cancer of telecommunications in South Africa, because it's allowed the government, the Minister and the Department of Communications to maintain the status quo and not to make any difficult decisions and not to offend major stakeholders. So in effect, managed liberalisation has been a kind of liberalisation denialism, not as devastating as AIDS denialism, but in the telecommunications sector it's the equivalent. There's 2 big things that are happening in the coming year. The one is that the CCOM cable will land at Mtunzini on the east coast of South Africa, and that will be extended into Gauteng, where the landing point in effect will be in Johannesburg. And that means that all major service providers in this country will suddenly have access to a very large source of bandwidth at a far lower cost than they've ever had before. The capacity of the new cable
is 1.2 terabits per second versus the existing undersea cable that Telkom controls that has a capacity of 40 gigabits per second. Or 30 gigabits per second. So it's a 40-fold increase. And if Telkom does upgrade its existing cables to the maximum capacity, they will take that up to around 320 gigabits per second. So we'll be sitting with around 1.5 terabits per second versus the current 30 gigabits per second. So it's a 50-fold increase in bandwidth capacity that we can expect in the coming year. Everything that's happening now is pointing towards complete saturation of the market of haves, i.e. the upper and middle class South Africans will all be connected to the internet, probably through quality connections by 2030. That's the 8 million people who will be online by 2030. But that still leaves the have-nots out of the digital picture. It's not even a digital divide, it's a complete digital absence in terms of the have-nots. And what really needs to happen there is not a reliance on stopgap measures or a one-off event like the Gauteng Online project here or Resource Centre there, or whatever the case might be. What is needed is really a massive public works type strategy that addresses all issues that affect the digital divide. And it starts with basic literacy, because literacy is the starting point of the digital divide, and that's never been addressed in any of these strategies.